What is a 5G network actually then? It might seem like a simple question, but it's actually not as simple as some people might think. So for you to know what it is, there has to be some requirements. Someone has to put some requirements out, and the people that generally do that and have done that before is the ITU, or International Telecommunications Union. So they basically set the requirements. They will say that, it needs to do X, Y, and Z. So for 5G, they've started this, and they've done this under the IMT 2020. So this is still under development, and 2020 isn't by chance. It refers to 2020 being the aim for the completion date. They haven't completed it yet. They've done the first phases of it, which is still being, they're still adding to it. But it started in 2015, and like I said, there's no requirements that have actually been set yet. If you are someone technical who'd like to go and read up on it, as you can see there, the ITUR document, you can go and search that on the internet and you can go and read it for yourself. There's quite a few things in there. If you look at the capability, the description, the requirement, and the usage scenario, these are the basic requirements which they've set out already. As you can see there, the main thing is the enhanced mobile broadband. And for technical people, the most relevant thing we're really looking at is the gigabit rates, the 10 and 20 gigabit range, and then the milliseconds or latency of around between 1 and 4 seconds. Those are the main things that they're really trying to get out of the technology for future. How do we meet these requirements? So the 3GPP creates standards. They basically look at the IMT 2020 and they just create standards to meet the requirements. They collaborate with partners to set country standards and address whatever needs there are. So they basically deal with a lot of countries over the world, and they've done this for previous generations like 3G and 4G, and they're now involved with 5G. And just by me looking a bit into 5G to stay on top of things, I've looked at some of the guys who are in charge, or some of the top guys there, and they seem like people are really well educated and people with a lot of experience, just as a matter of interest. So they currently use what's referred to 5G-NR, or 5G New Radio, which is just a radio access technology. That's what they've come out with. And for me to explain what this radio access technology, or RAT, is, I need to give a basic explanation of a mobile network layout. So this is again a bit more technical, but I've done it quite very basic. So as you can see, normally phones or tablets or MiFis or any device that normally wirelessly connects to a cell tower will use 4G or LTEA or whatever's available. In some areas now there might be a phone or device you're looking at that says 5GE or 5G already. So they wirelessly connect to these towers. These towers are then connected to the internet eventually by physical infrastructure, so fiber optical cables and network cables and all that kind of thing. Sometimes in remote areas there might not be any cables or physical infrastructure to connect to, so what they would typically use are these microwave dishes to connect one tower to another and eventually cable them into the network. And no, it's not the one used in your kitchen. As you can see in that picture, that's what it actually looks like, if you've ever wondered what those things are. So the main area that 5G affects is the area which I've circled in red, and as you can see, 5G New Radio or radio access technology just refers to that part of this whole equation. The other network, like the fiber optics and the wireless in the network communications, those will slowly be upgraded, but currently that's the main thing that they're really looking at. So just to sum that up, 5G aims to increase wireless speeds. That's what they're currently focusing on, and other network upgrades are likely to follow from that. And just to emphasize, 5G today is still being developed. It's not is by no means completed. It's not like 5G getting rolled out is what 5G will be in 10 or 20 years' time, if it's still around. And the first phase, like I've said, is 5G, new radio access technology. So let's go a little bit into what that is. So 5G being advertised today, which in some parts, I know some phones might say 5GE like in the States, that is actually using existing 4G technology, but in a slightly more advanced way. The most advanced 4G which we've got is what's referred to as 4G LTEA PRO. And there aren't a lot of places, I don't know of many places that actually even have that. So the difference between 4G, the most recent version of 4G, and the 5G that you see now in some places is just that the antennas are better. And they're also using technology like aggregation a bit more, but there are no millimeter waves and these ultra high gigahertz frequencies that some people might be telling you that are in use. They're not using those yet. It's only intended to be used for the future. They're not really using them now. So when people are putting up new 5G towers, they're not using those. Everything is below the 6 gigahertz frequency range, and that might be confusing. So basically what I'm saying is 5G today, which is in April 2020, is being developed and used on existing 4G networks. That's what it actually is. So just to give it some perspective, 4G LTEA Pro I mentioned earlier is actually faster than the 5G that some people are seeing today in some places. LTEA Pro has been specified by 3GPP to have a latency of less than 2 milliseconds and more than 3 gigabits of bandwidth. So from all the trials and tests I've seen, I haven't seen anyone come close to 3 gigabits. I've seen between 1 to 1.5 gigabits, but nowhere near 3 gigabits. So the 5G that's being advertised and people might be using in some places is actually slower than LTEA Pro. So 5G today, how it's being developed is it's making incremental improvements on 4G networks. They're using the latest 4G that they can, and they're trying to just slowly improve it. And they are mostly focusing on just the antennas at the moment, because that's the bottleneck in the whole network I explained earlier. And that radio access technology is their biggest priority right now.